your connection is a lot better today. And welcome, everyone. It's good to see you. I'm very happy to spend this evening with you. And I hope that you are warmer than what we are here in Pretoria. It's extremely cold. Just as you might have seen in your invite for today's meeting, we'll be talking about heart and blood health. These are two systems that are quite connected. So we talk about them together because the health of one depends on the health of the other. So today we'll talk about heart and blood health. And of course, this is, I think, a topic which our Neolife products can be very helpful in, because we know that it's one of the systems that is heavily affected by lifestyle diseases. For example, I'm sure almost every one of us in this call have have someone who has got high blood pressure, maybe someone who struggles with cholesterol problems, maybe someone who has had a heart failure, and so on. So just to say that our products can actually play an important role in keeping our hearts and blood healthy. So just to start, I would like to say that our heart health begins actually with our brain. And what do I mean? I mean that we need to be knowledgeable about how to maintain the health of our heart, our blood vessels, and our blood. And of course, knowledge comes in through our brain. So we go to our heart health through the brain. And of course, our session today is part of that, increasing our knowledge about how to keep our hearts healthy. So a second thing is our thought processes. I think in one of our previous sessions, sorry for those who are new in the business, but as you know, our training is cyclic, and some time ago we talked about stress and the role it plays in damaging our health. So another aspect of our heart and blood health is managing negative thought processes and keeping them at a minimum or eliminating them. Why is that? Because when we have stress, our body reacts by producing a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol is there to help us deal with the stressor. But what is supposed to happen is once the stressor is gone, the body dissipates the cortisol and removes it from our bodies. If it is left in our bodies, it starts to cause damage. And that is why stress itself is not dangerous. What is dangerous is continuous stress. And I think we spoke about this before when we say that, for example, if something like your job is the source of your stress, then it means that you are almost always stressed. So your body is constantly producing cortisol to deal with the stress. I mean, you can imagine now, like in this period of the pandemic we are living in, if you're an emergency doctor or you are dealing with an outbreak of COVID, it means you are continuously under stress. But what happens is that once the stress is over, the body dissipates the cortisol. The other hormone I can mention is adrenaline. This is the hormone which our body produces when we are afraid or when we are angry, when we want to run or when we want to fight. And once the situation has been resolved, let's say someone made us angry and we reacted very strongly. Once we resolve that situation, the adrenaline dissipates from our blood. But if we are always angry, it means that we are continuously producing adrenaline. And after a while, it starts damaging our systems. So that is why I say that the second thing about heart and blood health is to manage negative thought processes. So if you find yourself often being negative, often thinking angry thoughts, finding it hard to forgive, finding it hard to move on, for the sake of your heart, I suggest that it is important to find a resolution for that situation so that it does not become a permanent aspect of one's life. Then the next thing about our heart health, I wanted to mention that in Neolife, we recommend our products. But remember, we always say our products are to supplement the healthy habits that we are building up and cultivating. So in terms of our heart health, another important thing is our diet, the food that we actually eat, because there is no point in taking the supplements and then turning around and eating junk food, because then the supplements are only going to be helping your body to fight with what you're putting inside your body. So in this respect, we need to clean up our diet, include fresh fruits and vegetables in it. We need to have healthy carbohydrates. For example, in our African context, we have got very many healthy carbohydrates which have not been refined. Many of us come from places where we have cassava, we have got yams, we have sweet potatoes, arrowroots. These are healthy sources of carbohydrates, which are still very close to their natural state, which means that they support our health rather than damage it. So we recommend that rather than choose refined carbohydrates like cakes, cookies, and sweets, let us opt for the healthier sources of carbohydrates, as I've mentioned. Of course, the grains are not unhealthy as such. The problem is when they are overprocessed, then they become problematic because they bypass the natural system which our body has evolved to use. So that is why it is better to use the carbohydrates which are as close to their natural form as possible. That way, we not only avoid these heart and blood conditions, we also can avoid illnesses like diabetes. And you know that a lot of these lifestyle illnesses walk hand in hand. Another thing that we can do is add fish to our supplements. Remember that we evolved, many of us are near rivers and lakes and oceans. And so fish has been a staple of humanity in a very long period. And that is why the omega-3s are very important in our health. So it would be a good thing to make a habit of adding fish at least once or twice a week to your diet, because it is a very good quality protein. Of course, we know that sometimes the fish now are being raised and being fed food which is not too healthy. So unfortunately, even your source of fish should be scrutinized a bit so that you try to get wild caught fish rather than fish which has been farmed and maybe fed some of the problem foods. Then another thing that supports our healthy lifestyle is that we evolved as moving creatures. We are not like trees, which are planted in the soil and they stay there until the day they die or someone cuts them down. We are moving creatures, which means that movement is an important part of our good health. And so I do not necessarily say that you have to join a gym. If you can, it is well and good, you should. But more than that, it is important to incorporate activity and movement in your day. So let's say you are working at a computer, don't sit the whole day. Sometimes get up. You can do some of the simple exercises that we mentioned before. If you're talking on the phone, instead of sitting down, you can talk on the phone and walk about if it's possible and it's convenient. So try to incorporate movement in your day-to-day activities. Rather than send your child or the maid to go and do this or the other, take on some of the activities in the house so that you can actually be active. At the shops, maybe you can park a bit far so that, of course, sometimes you park far and you endanger your car, you may find it gone. But just to say, try to look for ways in which you incorporate movement in your day-to-day life. Because actually, I find that even if you're the member of a gym, and you only exercise for 1 hour in a 24-hour cycle, and the rest of the time you are sitting down, the benefit is little. It is more profitable that health-wise to actually look for ways in which you can be in the move constantly so that your body gets used to moving. A lot of the good things that happen in our body happen in the course of movement. So like our joint health, which we'll talk about at another time, benefits a lot from movement. Our joints heal as we move. Okay, so movement and exercise is important. We say a minimum of 30 minutes a day. You can maybe use it, take a walk. You can take a walk in your neighborhood. You can take a walk in a sports field if there's one. You can take a walk in a mall, but try to incorporate walking and other exercises in your life. Then the last one in this section is plan your sleep. We have a session also, of course, that we'll come back in the cycle of the importance of sleeping to our health. During our sleep is when our body repairs the damage that has been done. And so it is extremely important that we set an alarm, not just for waking up, but also for going to bed. This alarm does not mean that we have to go to bed at that time, but it should be an alarm that tells us we need to be concluding our things of the day so that we get into the mindset of sleeping. When we speak about sleep, maybe we'll go more into detail with it, but just to say that sleep is extremely important for our heart and blood health. Then another section here is reduce and eliminate harmful habits. So we have already mentioned junk foods that harm us, so like over-refined carbohydrates, sugars, and so on. Unhealthy fats are also culprits in damaging our blood and our blood vessels. And we also have certain habits such as smoking. One of the things that happens when we are stressed is if we find that we can't resolve the stress, we start other habits to try and deal with the stress. For example, we might take up smoking, but smoking is extremely harmful to our health. So in order to benefit from all these healthy habits, we should eliminate the things that are counterproductive. So things like smoking and the abuse of other kinds of stimulants should be eliminated. And then, of course, as I've said, do not have a sedentary lifestyle. Have an active lifestyle and resolve your stressors. So now going to the side of the Neolife products, which we can recommend in our heart health, I will repeat what I said last week, that our products are best before someone is sick because they are not medicines. They are nutritional supplements that help to sustain our health and to maintain it. So it is best to use these products as part of an ongoing process of maintaining our good health. Of course, they will help us when we are sick, but since they are not medicines, by the time we are sick and in hospital, it is difficult for us to see positive results as quickly as is needed to heal us. So for that reason, it's always a good thing to encourage the people in your circle of influence or your customers that they should use these products as an ongoing health maintenance program. So for our heart health, the first product I like for it is omega-3 salmon oil, which of course is sourced from fish. And what it does is that it prevents the formation of what is called plaque. It's a certain kind of material that adheres to the inside of our blood vessels. So omega-3 acts like, shall we say, a detergent that cleans our blood vessels and our blood. And that is why it plays a very important role in our, so, excuse me, that's why it plays a very important role in our health and our blood health specifically. And if our blood vessels are cleaned out by omega-3, then it also helps reduce our blood pressure. Because think about it, if our blood vessels become very narrow because of this plaque, then our hearts have to work very hard to pump the blood. But if we clean out the plaque, then the vessels are wider and it is easier for the heart to pump blood through it. Then the next product we recommend for heart and blood health is lipotropic adjunct, which is a combination of B vitamins and other vitamins, and they prevent the accumulation of harmful fat in the blood and also support the prevention of the formation of plaque. So lipotropic adjunct is the number 2 product for our heart health. And then the third one is garlic allium complex, also very excellent in preventing the formation of plaque, and also it prevents the plaque from, so it prevents the plaque itself when it has been formed from adhering to the walls of the blood vessels. And of course, in this way, the three products I've mentioned, omega-3 salmon oil, lipotropic, as well as garlic allium, will play an important role in normalizing our blood pressure. And I think some of the older distributors, you'll remember we used to have a pamphlet that used to speak about the silent killer. The silent killer is a high blood pressure because we may not have any outward symptoms that this killer is around. By the time we realize, it will already have taken us very, very far into the danger zone. So these 3 products help our heart and blood health by ensuring that our blood quality is good, our blood vessels are clean, and that way makes sure that our heart is not overtaxed trying to pump blood and circulate it throughout our system. Then the next product, coenzyme Q10, is not available in all markets. I know it's available in East Africa, but it's not available here in Southern Africa. But it's an excellent product because it supports the heart in preventing heart failure. So coenzyme Q10 is the other product because we know that the heart is the pump that pumps the blood through the blood vessels, and its health plays a very important role in making sure that our heart beats and beats effectively and circulates blood throughout the system. So coenzyme Q10 acts on our heart health itself. Then the last product I want to mention here is vitamin C. Vitamin C, of course, we know is very helpful in the repair of damaged tissues. We know that we use vitamin C when we have flu, and the flu virus has damaged our respiratory system, but it also helps to repair the damage that might have been done to our blood vessels. And so the fifth product for our heart health is going to be vitamin C, which helps to repair the damage that might have been done to our blood vessels. So I think now I can look at some of the questions that I received in the course of the week, because I remember last week I did not touch on any of the questions. So I'm going to look at a few of them. The first one, coincidentally, is high blood pressure. Someone wanted to know what to recommend for high blood pressure. And as I've said, omega-3 salmon oil, lipotropic adjunct, and garlic are the number ones here. We can also add magnesium. In some markets, like in Southern Africa, we have magnesium by itself. So this can be added to the high blood pressure combination. In addition to that, of course, we need to clean up our diet to resolve our stressors and to increase the activity in our lifestyle. Then the next question was someone who was puzzled about two products, vitamin C sustained release and the vitamin C that we call chewable all C. And this was probably a newish distributor. And the difference here, why we have these two products, is number one, all C is sweet and chewable, which means it's very, very good for children. It's easy for them to take it. You don't have to force them. So they can then just chew it as a chewable supplement. Vitamin C itself, the actual vitamin, the body cannot contain a lot of it. So the body absorbs what it can. And then during a certain period, a given period of time, when the vitamin C is available, the body will absorb it. But once it has reached the target, whatever is remaining is going to be discarded in the urine, which means that the vitamin C is going to be wasted. So what the Neolife technology of making sustained release vitamin C actually has the ability to produce the vitamin C in bursts. So it produces some and then stops. Then the body absorbs that. Then after a given time, it produces another burst, which the body absorbs. And then some time passes like that, so that that's why we call it sustained release, that it is not released all at once. It is released after a period so that the body can actually absorb all of it and none of it is wasted. But because sometimes you can hear people say that supplements are just a waste of money, you are just going to make expensive urine. But if you talk to them about the sustained release technology, then you help them to realize that today there's technology that makes sure that your vitamin C is released periodically so that you benefit from it even more and you get value for your money. And that, of course, what Neolife is very good at. So the chewable all C is easy to chew and children can take it, and even adults who dislike swallowing pills, because the vitamin C tablet is not small. So if someone does not like swallowing tablets, they can use a chewable C. If they are comfortable with it, then they can use a vitamin C sustained release. Then I think there's time for one or two more questions. The other question was about water retention, also called edema, when you get swelling that is puffy, especially on the ankles and the legs or the fingers, which shows that the body is not getting rid of water as well as it can. And this can be the result of a number of things. And depending on the cause of the water retention, our supplements may or may not be able to help. So if the water retention is, for example, as a result of an infection by a microbe, then the best thing is to see a doctor so that he diagnoses and gives you the treatment to deal with the microbe. Sometimes it can be the result of heart or kidney disease. And with those ones, we can partially help, but you still need to see a doctor. So water retention is a warning sign that either the heart or the organ or the kidney are not working well. And with that knowledge, you can then go and see the doctor to try to get to the bottom of it. But on the side of the Neolife products, we can recommend multimineral alfalfa, which supports the kidney in getting rid of, in making the water not collect in the body. We also recommend threonine, and again coenzyme Q10, which we said supports the blood, because one of the things that can cause this water retention is that the heart might not be beating very well, and coenzyme Q10 can help. But as I said, this is a situation in which it's good to see the doctor so that they are able to tell you exactly which problem is causing it. Then I think my next question is about stroke. And the stroke, we know, is caused when blood clots form in blood vessels. Blood is not supposed to clot when it is running in the vessels. It's supposed to be fluid. But sometimes as a result of genetics or as a result of illness, blood clots can form in the blood vessels. And it can be damaging. Once the clots form inside the blood vessel, it can be one of the things that damages the blood vessels themselves. And for that, what we recommend is Pro-Vitality, lipotropic adjunct, and once again, garlic allium complex. So you can see all these blood-related products. We go for these products that we talked about. And finally, there was a question about weight loss after childbirth or while breastfeeding. So there was an expectant mom or a breastfeeding mom who wanted to know how they can go back to their normal body weight, either during or after pregnancy. And I just wanted to say that, yes, we've got some products that we can recommend, but we need to understand that the woman's body has adapted in a certain way to ensure the survival of the expectant mother as well as the baby. And one of the things that will make the body nervous is if we start reducing the amount of food available. So if we start going on a diet when we are pregnant or still breastfeeding, the body clings to the fats and weight loss is going to be short-lived, and then it will stop because the body will immediately think to itself, there isn't enough food, so I have to be very careful. I must keep my fat stores safe. So in other words, if you are pregnant or you are breastfeeding, a priority is to your health and the baby's health. So we can say that you can take something like the Neolife shake, which can help you to get the good quality proteins that you need. And that way you can have a good quality protein and you don't put on excess weight. But at the same time, you don't deny yourself or your baby the good nutrients that you require. We also recommend that you can use Neolife tea as a drink, maybe while the breastfeeding, because it also helps the body to have a good metabolic system. And then the other thing I wanted to recommend was you can also use Amitune, which is a group of amino acids that will help to retain muscle. And that way, the weight you have will not be just fatty weight, it will be good, healthy weight, and it will support your exercising and activity. So just to say that if a woman prematurely starts to try to go on a diet and to eat very little, it will unleash on her the body's resistance, and you'll find that you are eating less and less, but losing less and less weight. So for that reason, it's better for us to work with our bodies. There'll come a time when the baby is weaned, it will be much easier to lose the weight then. But that does not mean we wean our babies before they are ready. Let us give the baby 1.5 years of breastfeeding where possible, so that the baby also gets the full benefit of breast milk. And as the period of breastfeeding ends, the body will go back to healthy weight, but we will, during the course of time, have developed good eating habits and exercise habits that will help us to sustain that weight. Because sometimes we rush to lose weight, but we don't maintain the new weight because we lost the weight in a wrong way. If you lose the weight in a wrong way, what happens is that you gain the weight back and some extra. And maybe you have noticed some people who lose weight and then they gain weight and they gain even more than they had when they started. So that means that the body is now working against us rather than for us, because we have somehow unleashed some of the body's resistance, and our body is always thinking about survival. Okay, so I think that my time is up, and I hope that this session was beneficial to you and that you will be able to use it for your own personal benefit of your health, but also to spread the information to those in your circle of influence and those of your customers and so on. Thank you very much, and let us go out and do what we do best, make the world a healthier and happier place. I will hand you over to Pascal now, and I hope that you are going to pay keen attention and benefit from what he wants to share. Thanks very much and good evening.
Good evening, friends. It's a pleasure to share this evening with you. Just to share with you some ideas that I think will help you build your business stronger than you've built it before. I think Betty has given you a very good session on the products, especially relating to the blood and the heart. But what I want to take, two things I want to discuss with you this evening. One is Neolife's compensation plan. What does that mean? Neolife's compensation plan is the way Neolife rewards you from the business that you build. And why is that important to know? It is important to know because, remember, Neolife is a business. And all of us joined Neolife to generate, okay, some people originally joined Neolife to make a bit of, because of health reasons. But as life went on, some people realized that actually you can make a lot of money in this business. So I'd like to discuss with you two things this evening. One is the details of the compensation plan and how to build your business effectively. The second part, which is the most important in building anything successfully, is self-belief. That is, to be able to believe that you can also build the business. If Josphat and Pierre Karaoke can be successful, why not you? If Charlie Bolton and Charlie and Arthur can succeed, why not you? If Pascal and Betty can do this thing, why not you? Self-belief means you believe yourself you can actually build a business as successfully as others have done it. So if you give me a few moments, I want to share the screen with you. Let me go to the slideshow, start at the beginning. All right. When you start the business, you register with Neolife as a distributor. And what do we do in our business? We use the products and we earn points. Number two, we share the products and we earn points. Number three, we share the opportunity and we earn points. Sharing the opportunity means you introduce other people to become distributors like yourself. Number four, you train to get the skills necessary for your self-belief to grow. That is essentially what we do in our business. And initially, when you start the business, the minimum PV you need to do is 100 PV to be able to qualify for a bonus. Okay? This is for everybody who is doing the business. For example, if you're a PT or a president's team member, 4B director and above, if you do not do 100 points, you do not earn any income. And I think the reason why the company put that policy is so that everybody is encouraged at least to work in the business. The next thing is this. How do you build a successful business? Because once you're a qualified distributor, the next step for you is to become a manager. And what is a manager? A manager is somebody who does, just one moment. A manager is somebody who does 250 PV. If I may go back a little bit. Okay. A manager is somebody who does 250 PV personally or does 500 PV with their team, and at least they have 100 PV in their name. I want to recommend to you that if you read the company's compensation plan, they use a 250 PV model. That means you build your business manager by manager. When you start the business, once you become a qualified distributor, your next step is to become a manager. What is a manager? A manager is somebody who has done 250 PV personally or 500 with a group. How do you become a senior manager? To be a senior manager, you need to sponsor at least three managers plus yourself doing 250 PV to reach 1,000 PV. From senior manager, your next step is to become an executive manager. What is an executive manager? An executive manager is somebody who's doing 2,000 PV with their group and at least 100 PV in their name. How do you do this? You need at least 2 senior managers plus yourself, you become an executive manager. So what I want to suggest to you is look at this business as 250 PV model. That means we need to learn how to do 250 PV. How do you do that? Number one, learn about what the products do. Number two, listen to people's needs. And that leads me to this. If you want to do 250 PV, it's very important to know what the products do. In this example, these products I have shown, LDC, Super 10, 3NN, chelated CalMag, omega-3 salmon plus 60 capsules, cruciferous plus, carotenoid complex, VitaSquares, vitamin C, and chelated zinc. Two of each of these products give you 254 PV. The question is, do you know somebody who cleans their home? Then you can sell them LDC. Do you know somebody who has heavy duty cleaning that they need to do in their home? You can sell them Super 10. Do you know anybody with tiredness, low energy, needs to get the cellular nutrition up? You can sell them 3NN. Do you know somebody with nerve problems, bone development? You can sell them CalMag. Do you know somebody with heart problems, arthritis, high blood pressure, somebody who needs products for brain function, somebody who needs products to reduce inflammation? You can sell them omega-3 salmon plus. You know somebody with a prostate cancer or prostate problem? There are very many. Any man who is over 40 is likely to have a prostate challenge. So all the men who are over 40 are your potential customers. You can sell them cruciferous plus. Somebody whose immune system is compromised, carotenoid complex. People who have children, VitaSquares. People with low immune system, especially these days of COVID-19, vitamin C and chelated zinc. So if you know what these products do, the other thing you need to know is how to listen to people's need. You listen to people's need by asking questions. When you ask questions, they will reveal to you what they are going through in their lives. And that gives you a chance to recommend the products to them. If you make a goal of doing 250 PV every month, that means that every week you're at least doing between 60 and 70 PV. And I think doing 60 and 70 PV per week is achievable. You just need to structure your activity. You need to know what the products do, and you need to know what to recommend to customers to reach this PV. So once you reach the 250 PV level and you start building a business PV by PV. Okay, so this is a list of products. You can choose your own list because people have got different ways that they recommend products to. Some people concentrate on super grow. Some people concentrate on the skincare products. Just choose the products that you're comfortable with and you've got a customer. So how do you become a manager, 250 PV, from the example that we've seen, or 500 with your group? You become a manager in the business. And now you qualify for bonus between 3% and 5%. All right, that is your bonus. The next thing is to become a senior manager. What is a senior manager? A senior manager is somebody who is doing 1,000 PV with their group, with a minimum of 100 PV in their own name. So how do you become a senior manager? Is to develop at least 3 to 4 managers in your group. If you do that, you become a senior manager. Once you become a senior manager, what is the next step? Your next step is to become an executive manager. What is an executive manager? An executive manager is somebody who is doing 2,000 PV with their group. And the easiest way to do that is to develop at least one senior manager in your team, and you've got 3 to 4 other managers in your team. So I would like to recommend very strongly that you need to use a 250 PV unit or model to build your business successfully. So you need to continue sponsoring, and when you sponsor new people in the business, you need to teach them how to do 250. Once you become an executive manager, you've got one senior manager under you, you've got 2 or 3 or 4 managers under you, and your total volume is 2,000 PV plus. What is your next step? Your next step is to become a director. How do you become a director? You need to build at least 2 executive managers. I think this idea that the company introduced of executive managers has made the model much more easy to conceptualize and understand. So if you want to be a director, build 2 or more executive managers in your team. I would recommend you need to build 3 executive managers. In this example, you have 1, 2, 3 executive managers plus yourself, and another senior manager. You're doing more than 4,000 PV in your team, and you become a director. In fact, if you want to sustain your director position, make sure you help the people who join your business to reach the level of executive manager. Okay? Once you become a manager, the next thing is to become an emerald director, and that means you maintain 4,000 PV for 3 months and you become an emerald director. In fact, one of the ways to notice that your business is strong enough is when you qualify as an emerald director month after month with your nursery. Your nursery are the people who are not directors in your team. Okay? So once you become an emerald director, your next step is become a sapphire director. What is a sapphire director? A sapphire director is somebody who's got at least one person in their group who's a director, and you've got 4,000 PV excluding this director, but your total PV is 10,000 PV, and you maintain this for 3 months. Once you become a sapphire director, you're now a world team member. What is the next step for you? The next step for you is to become a 1 Ruby director. 1 Ruby director is somebody who's got 3 director legs, and they maintain this for 3 months, and the group PV is 20,000 PV. Group PV is the PV you generate 3 director levels deep. Okay? Always remember how our marketing plan is structured. When you reach the world team level, you earn leadership development bonus up to 3 levels deep. The next step is to become a 2 Ruby director. A 2 Ruby director is somebody who's got 30,000 group PV, 4 director legs, and this is maintained for 3 months. out of the period of 6. Then you become a 2 Ruby director. From a 2 Ruby director, you go to a 3 Ruby director. At a 3 Ruby director, your volume is 50,000 group PV. You maintain that for 3 months, and you've got 5 director legs. Okay. From this, you go to a 4 Ruby director. You become a president's team member. Your volume is 100,000 PV. You maintain that for 3 months out of 6, and you've got 6 director legs. Now, I always recommend that if you want to be a strong 4 Ruby director, make sure you have other spare legs. So your aim is to have at least 8 director legs, because sometimes not all the legs qualify with 4,000 PV. Okay, so you need to always have some spare legs. If you're aiming for 4 Ruby, although the qualification is 6 director legs, we recommend that you need to at least 8 to 9 director legs, so that even if one doesn't qualify in any 1 month, you've got a total of 6 director legs qualifying. And that gives you a very strong president's team volume to become a 4 Ruby director. So that is a summary of what our marketing plan is. But now let's look at the thing, and I think when we sent this topic, a friend of mine told me that in fact, your topics today are really what I need to become successful. I'd like to talk to you about self-belief. What is self-belief? Self-belief means that you believe naturally, okay, out of training and also out of effort, that you can do something. For example, how does a child come to walk? First of all, a child gets up, they crawl, then they get on their up, they start to walk, they stumble and they fall down. But they don't give up. They get up again, they walk, they stumble, they hurt their feet, they fall down, but they get up again. And the reason why they do that is because they see adults walking, then they know it's a natural thing to walk. That's how children learn to walk. How do children learn to talk? By observing adults talking and adults talking to them. Then eventually they start talking. A similar thing happens in our business. Self-belief comes when you believe that you can do something, that when you believe that you can become successful. I've got 3 points I would like to share with you about self-belief. The first is this. For you to have self-belief, the first thing you need to have, you need to know exactly what you want. You see, when a child is walking, the child knows what I want to do is to walk. If you don't know what you want, it's very difficult to have self-belief, especially in this business. So the first thing I would recommend to develop the capacity of self-belief is you need to know exactly what you want. For example, if you want to earn money, don't say I want to earn a lot of money. How much money do you want to earn? Is it $1,000? Is it $2,000? Is it $5,000? And the thing is, you need to write it down. Make it plain on tablet so that it is clear. The tablet is an old word for the book. Write down exactly what you want to achieve in your dream, as a goal. Once the goal is clear, memorize that goal. How do you memorize it? You need to create what we call a vision board or a dream chart. This is a physical representation of the things that you want to achieve. And this must be very clear in your mind. Once you know exactly what you want, the next thing you need to do is know what do you need to do to get what you want. And that comes from knowledge. Let me speak specifically about this business. You need to know how to build it. Number one, you need to know what our marketing plan is. What is it that we do to earn the money we do? The second thing is you need to know how to prospect. You need to know how to invite people for the meeting. You need to know how to close. So knowledge is very important when you want to develop self-belief. And what does having knowledge lead to? Having knowledge leads to confidence. Confidence means that you are keenly aware that you can do what is required to become successful. Once you develop confidence, and confidence comes from having knowledge, And people around you will actually notice, they will know that this person really knows what they're talking about. Okay, so there's no shortcut to having knowledge. Knowledge about the products, knowledge about the marketing plan, knowledge about the process of how to write a name list, how to invite people professionally to see the business, how to show the business plan, how to close people once they have worked the business, once they have seen the business plan. Okay? Once you have this thing, the next thing you need to do is you need to do what we call affirmation. You see, faith comes from hearing. I was listening to a YouTube video this morning about a young man who they went through a very tough time with his mother, and he was chosen when he went to play basketball. His coach made a lot of fun made a lot of fun of him, but his mother told him, "Look, son, if you want to succeed, you need to believe you can succeed. Forget about what people say about you. If you really believe it, if you want it badly enough, you're going to succeed." And he kept this thinking, he kept his mother's voice in his mind, and he repeated to himself that he's going to be successful. After 20 years, he is one of the top DJs in his community. Why? Because he believed what his mother said. So belief and faith comes from repeating something constantly. And it helps you in two levels. One level is psychologically. That means you repeat something to yourself until you actually know that it is something you do naturally. The next thing is, they call it neuroscience. When you repeat something to yourself constantly, you tend to believe what you say to yourself. That is why it's very important to be careful about what you say to yourself. What others say to you, that is easy to deal with. But the most important thing is, what do you say to yourself? In the quiet moments of your life, when you're about to sleep, when you wake up, when you're doing something, what are you telling yourself? So the best thing is write down the things as if they already are and start repeating to yourself. If you do that, you'll eventually believe what it is that you need to do to be successful. You see, human beings are special beings in that we've got the capacity to create our future. How do we do it? By the words we use. If you have a child and you keep telling that child that they're stupid, they will never disappoint you. If you have a child and you keep telling them that they're going to be successful one day, they won't disappoint you. Why? Because children believe things naturally their parents tell them, or somebody, or a figure of authority in their lives. So be very carefully what you repeat to yourself. And self-confidence comes, or self-belief comes from repeating things to yourself that you want in the future as if they already occur. So I feel, just to summarize about developing self-belief, number one, you need to know exactly what you want. Number two, you need to know what it is, or the knowledge for getting what you want. If building this business, you need to know how to prospect. You need to know our marketing plan. You need to know, have knowledge about the products. And when you have knowledge, it builds confidence. And when you have confidence, then you start doing things that you believe should lead you to success. And then you need to learn how to repeat to yourself the things you want to achieve. It's called self-talk or affirmation. When the first time I had this, I didn't quite believe that it is true. Until I tried it myself, the first 1 week, it sounds as if it's not true, or it sounds funny, and you find it difficult to believe. But the more you repeat your self-talk, the more you repeat your self-belief, your affirmations, the easier it becomes. Why? Because you start reprogramming your brain. You start reprogramming your mind for success. And the last thing I would like to suggest to you is visualization. You see, today we are using this Zoom to be able to communicate. You're probably listening to this presentation from either a phone or a laptop or whatever device you're using. But before this device that you're using was invented, somebody imagined that it's going to be true. Somebody used his imagination to develop it. All of us have got the same capacity. All of us have the same capacity to imagine things before they are. So I would recommend to you to use your imagination to develop faith, to develop your own self-belief. And if you do that, you will find that your business becomes easy. And the last thing is, be careful about the people you keep company with. I was listening to Tyler Perry 2 days ago, and he said, if you have 5 friends of yours and they're all thieves, you're going to be the 6th one in a matter of time. If you have 5 very successful friends of yours, in a matter of time, you're going to be the 6th one. If you keep company with 8 broke people, very soon you're going to be the 9th one. So be very careful about the people you keep contact with or people you spend most of your time with, because it's just a matter of time before you become like them. Why? Because birds of the same feather flock together. I want to recommend to you, in this business, there are very many people on this continent who are waiting for you to tell them about this business. I want to plead with you to be a point of light. A point of light is a place where people look to for success. A point of light is a place where people look to for guidance. I want to recommend to you to be a point of light. A point of light for people who have given hope. A point of light for people whose health is not good. A point of light of people who want to make a significant difference in their lives. If you are a point of light, then doing this business has become worthwhile. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for spending this evening with us. And we really appreciate, and I wish you the very best. I wish you take the business seriously, apply all the lessons that you have learned in this meeting, and may God bless you and expand your dreams to become true. So, Paul, back to you.
Thank you so much, Pascal, for that very engaging session. I believe that our distributors on the call, they have been able to learn 1 or 2 tips which they can be able to use to build their businesses. It was quite engaging. And yes, I've learned we need to choose our friends wisely. If you want to succeed, you have to team up with people who are successful. And because I think success is contentious, just as lack of success is also contentious. So that's a very good point for us to be able to take home. And I've learned a lot through the conversation plan. So if you're on this call and you're wondering how can I be able to move from one place to the other, Pascal has been able to give you all the information and how you can be able to succeed in this business. Likewise, Betty has done an amazing session on blood, something that I didn't even think somebody can form a topic on that. So I can say it has been a wonderful session for each and every one of us. And it's just upon us to be able to go there, apply what we have been able to learn, teach our distributors, and teach all the people that we come across the things that we are learning. That is how you build a team that you can be able to depend on in future. So I'm quite happy and optimistic that we're going to build stable business, and especially from the teachings that we get from this event every other time. So Pascal and Betty, thank you so much for joining us. Our distributors on the call, thank you so much. Keep stretching. The month is still, we're actually in the middle of the month. We are nearing the 20th. And up to now, you should have done almost half of what you're supposed to close with by the end of the month. So let's keep on stretching, sponsoring new people, and looking out for the incentive that the company and our leaders have put together with us so that they can be able to help us to build our business. So from me, Pascal and Betty, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night. Let's meet tomorrow during our Swahili opportunity presentation. Thank you. God bless you and bye-bye. Thank you, Pascal. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.